How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a great day. I just got back a little while ago. I had a couple of things I needed to take care of at my mother-in-law's house, and I had an unexpected invitation to breakfast from a buddy of mine that I don't get to see all that often, so it's been a pretty full morning. I've been looking a lot at my life lately, the ebbs and flows of it. And the one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is that there's been a lot of saddening to it. There's also been a lot of sweetening and a lot of deepening too. When I was a little kid, I lived on this street called Breaker Street, and it may as well have been a one-way street. There wasn't a lot of traffic except for the people who lived there. And on that street, there were quite a few retired old men. Old meaning probably just a couple of years older than I am now. And these guys seemed to fill their days with a lot of puttering. There was Mr. Jack, who had this pigeon coop in his backyard, and he spent his time repairing it and cleaning it and taking care of the pigeons. There was Mr. Schwingutsky, who had a shed, and he would squirrel himself away in his shed and spend hours building and painting these birdhouses, and pretty much every house in the neighborhood had one. And there was Mr. Zaleski, who had a workshop in his backyard that was just stuffed to the gills with rusted hand tools and the first hand-cranked grindstone that I had ever seen. And these guys would just disappear into this work. And as a kid, it always fascinated me that they could spend all this time doing all this stuff that, to me, then, didn't really seem to amount to anything. But I also always knew that when I got to be an old man, I was going to end up doing exactly the same thing, and I couldn't wait. There was a mystery there. And now, as I've gotten older, I've noticed that my life has taken on a pretty similar pattern. I spend a lot of my time in my own wood shop carving spoons and that kind of thing. Or I'm making these videos, or I'm working on a book project that I've been working on for the last couple of years. But then all of a sudden I'll get called to deeper work. I have a very small but very rewarding practice where I get to sit and work with others as they go through their own healing. The phone will ring, and it'll be a friend or someone else on the phone who's really going through some heavy stuff and needs an ear. We have our monthly ceremonies, and the work that gets done during those gatherings by the people who show up is just absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of times it's intense. But then when the dust settles, we go right back to that simple life of carving and writing and gardening when the season is here and making these videos. And I got to talking about it with my teacher and his wife a while back when I was visiting with them. And I said, you know, I feel like a hammer that gets hung up on the wall of the garage. If there's a nail that needs to get banged down, I get taken off the wall, the nail gets banged down, then I get put back up on the wall and just hang out and wait. And my teacher's wife started laughing and she said, yeah, but a hammer is still a hammer even when it's hanging on the wall. And man, that really put the hook in me. You know, these gifts that we have, whatever they might be, they require us to live in a certain way. Those of us who grew up in dysfunctional households, who had to learn the skill of empathy, had to learn how to read the room so that we could anticipate what was going to happen next. We know a lot about how hard it is to live in the type of world that we live in today. This is not a place that takes kindly to those who feel. And sometimes we just need to disappear for a little while, lay aside the things that get in the way and just rest. And you know, some people say, well, I'm not some crazy old man with time on his hands. I can't just drop everything and sit around. I've got kids. My kids are in school and they've got all these activities, or I've got a job that pulls me away from my house for 60 hours a week, or I've got a sick mom or whatever to take care of. And man, that's all well and good. I'm not making comparisons, you know. We've all got responsibilities in our lives. And it's important that we take notice of that and that we devote ourselves to that accordingly. The real courage of this life, though, talking from others and looking at my own life and the experiences that I've seen, the real courage comes from being able to assess those things that are in our lives, all of it, truthfully. And really coming to know what's necessary, hanging on to that, and being able to let go of the things that don't matter. Examining our lifestyles, the cars we drive, the relationships we have, the places we go, the clothes we wear, maybe even the jobs we have, all of it. The people in our circle. How much of our energy is given to things which we deem important simply because of stories that we tell ourselves? If we can step up, we can have the courage to let go of the things that are absolutely unnecessary, even if we feel a deep attachment to them. Then we can take the energy that we've put into those and we can put that into the things that do matter. And it's that process that shapes us into exactly the tool that is needed for the job that we're here to do. Till next time.